It's a very long process of editing it. Basically, you want to split your time in half. So if it's a 10-minute judging session, you want to do a 5-minute presentation and a 5-minute Q&A, because you want to give them time to ask the questions to your team about what they need to get on their rubric. This format is basically how we go about presenting our team. We do our little hi, word, whatever, and then we yell with Patronum Bots. That's what our team does. It makes us a little bit more memorable. And then we'll go into all the parts. You need to have technical details. You need to show off your robot. So this is our arm, this is what it does, this is what we do in autonomous. Give them a little bit of background about how you designed the robot, maybe bring in some prototypes. Visual examples are always really awesome. Outreach. You definitely want to touch on outreach in your judging presentation. You need to say, we have put up this many workshops, we've mentored this many teams. Things like that are really good for judges to know, because then they'll have follow-up questions about that later. And fundraising. Judges normally will ask at least a couple questions about fundraising, so if you kind of start off with, we have a business plan that outlines our fundraising goal for this season. A lot of times that's good. Practice your presentation before you go to the tournament. You don't just want to walk in, never having said it before with a script and try to do a presentation. So the judging doesn't stop when you leave the judging room. A lot of times teams will kind of go into judging, do their thing, and then kind of forget about it. That's not a great plan. The most important thing when you're in judging is give them a reason to remember you. You want to give off a personality of, we want you to come back and talk to us because we have a lot more stuff to tell you. That's really important.
And it's also nice to have like a cool pin, like if you have a sign that lights up or something that just grabs your eye and has a judge go over there and say, hey, tell me a little bit more about this, or in your judging interview, let's do this. So things just to bring them back.
And a side note on the pit, if you have a smaller team like us, so this year we had only 4 people, last year we had only 4 people, the year before that we had only 4 people. So we don't have a whole lot of people on our team. So the problem is, if Evan's scouting and 3 of us are at the field, that means no one's in the pit. So if a judge walks by, they're not going to be able to talk to you, and they might think, oh, they're just goofing off, not doing anything. So we always leave a sign that says basically, sorry, we're playing, we don't have anyone here right now, but come back later and try and talk to us.
Or come see us on the field.
Yeah, or come see us on the field, that's the...
Our thing is, we always have one person in the pit because we do have enough people. Caitlin has previously been our person who is our pit sitter. It is important to have someone there though, because judges will come visit you, especially at places like state, supervision, worlds. Judges will come find you, they will want to talk to you, and if you don't have someone there, then they're going to go, oh, nobody's here. So it is important to leave a sign saying, hey, we're sorry, we don't have enough people.
I got to be an FTC judge this year at one of our qualifiers in Illinois. I learned something very interesting. So your presentation, when you're in front of the judges doing your presentation, that's your chance to get onto the whiteboard. Because what they do is all the judges break up into teams, and then they go back to the judging room, and then they write down the teams that they think are distinctive in different categories for different awards on the whiteboard almost immediately. By 10 a.m., by the time they have the opening ceremonies, the teams are on the whiteboard, and if you're not on it, your notebook goes in a box. No matter how nice it is, they're done. They won't look at you. It was, I could not believe it. It was amazing. So if you want to stand out, your presentation has to make an impact at the beginning of the day if you want to be in any of the buckets for the awards and be talked to.
A couple recommendations for standing out in a judging interview. Obviously what you're wearing and how you look is, part of it. But the information that you give them, you want to make sure you give them enough information that they know you're the real deal. Like, you have done outreach, you have a great robot, you have a great notebook, you've done a ton of fundraising. You want them to know that about you when you leave the room. So you leave behind your notebook, obviously. If you give them like a wristband or a button or something too, that's nice. The last thing is you want to make sure that you display yourself in your pit area. This is our pit setup at Super Regionals. You can see we have a giant sign, our Inspire banner, boards that have information about our robot, have information about our outreach. It's important that you have information there so that way if judges come, you can reference those. Like you can say, oh look, this is our graph of all of our hours. We also have a mini version of the notebook with all of our highlighted pages in it. So if they ask a question, say, hey, tell me more about your middle school robotics class, we can say, well, the page is right here if you want to see some more information about it.
Also, you want to be loud in the presentation, even if you're saying great stuff, but they can't hear you, then it doesn't
Not
matter.
worth it.
And they're there to judge you. They came. It's not like they're being forced to do this. They want to hear about your robot. They care.